नमः श्रीयतिराजाय विवेकानन्दसूरये सच्चित्सुखस्वरूपाय स्वामिने तापहारिणे. Today I am taking up one new topic, that is individuality according to Swami Vivekananda. For example, somebody asks me, "Who are you?" What would be my answer? I may say I am Nityasthananda, but that is only an arbitrary name given to me. After sannyas only I got that name. Before that I was not Nityasthananda at all. But even there may be so many other Nityasthananda also, might be there. In fact, there was one Nityasthanandaji was there earlier, much before. So that name will not really represent me what I am. I may say I am a monk. So many other monks also are there. So it won't really identify me. I may say I am a man. So many human beings are there. I am one among them. So that also do not represent me what I am. I may refer to my own position in society. That also refers to my position, not to me actually what I am. So whatever appellation I mention, it won't really represent me what I am. When somebody asks me, "Who are you?" I may ultimately say, "I am God, I am Atman," and all that. Then you will take me to be mad. Then you may admit me to the imams for a psychological treatment. So really, it is very difficult to identify really what I am. But in spite of all that, we all feel some kind of self-identity. I feel I am an individual completely separate from you all. For example, I am seeing you, I am hearing so many things, I am thinking, I am talking, so many things I am doing now. All these things I appropriate myself to me. I am doing it, I am seeing, I am hearing, I am thinking, I am talking. But when you do all those things, I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that. And when I do also, you don't feel like that. You are doing that. So there is a separate self-identity is there in each one of us. Sometimes, according to neuroscience, because of some damage in the brain, this self-identity may get lost. That's also possibility is there, but it's a different issue altogether. But normally we always feel the self-identity. This self-identity also, it grows slowly from the childhood to the mature man. For example, a child, newly born child, they say they will not feel that self-identity. The child won't feel that self-identity. It really identifies itself with the surroundings, persons and things and all that. It won't feel its own separate identity. Gradually, when it grows, when you see so many things, hear so many things, then gradually it separates itself from all others. It's called collective consciousness. This earliest stage in development is collective consciousness. I am one with all other things around me. I am not a separate being at all. And gradually this self-identity grows, this sense of individuality grows. So that means we becomes the individual, from a collective consciousness to the individual consciousness. Then when you still further growth takes place in a real sense, of course, in a real sense takes place, then what happens, I identify myself with the whole humanity, whole world, the universal consciousness. from the collective consciousness to the individual consciousness, and from the individual consciousness to the universal consciousness. This has to grow like this. So, what is this sense of individuality? But when you analyze this one, we all have this kind of sense of individuality, a self-identity. What actually it means? What is it? When you try to analyze it, it is very elusive. We can't get anything. As Sri Ramakrishna gives the example of the peeling of the onions, when you go on peeling the onions, you don't get what is onion at all. So self-identity also is like that. When you go on, what is this self-identity? What is this individuality? What is it? When you go on analyzing that one, you don't get anything at all. It's elusive. We can't arrive at any particular thing, pinpoint, oh, this is my individuality. I can't. So, according to the Vedanta as well as in according to Buddhism also, the combination of so many things will give a sense of individuality. For example, in Buddhism they give a very famous example, the chariot. What is chariot? Is there a thing called chariot apart from its parts? There is different parts are there, the wheels are there, the pillar is there, and also roof is there, so many things are there, so many other parts are there, and combined all these together, then it becomes a chariot. But apart from all this, there is no chariot at all. There is no chariot at all. There is no ratha. So same thing, table also you take table. When all the different parts are put together, it becomes a table. But apart from all this, is there a table? An individual object like table? So similar is the case with us also. It is a combination of different factors. The body is there, senses are there, mind is there, buddhi is there, so many things are there, consciousness is there. All these put together, it's called sanghata. All these put together, it gives a sense of individuality. That sense of individuality is not a real, does not have a real existence at all. Just like ratha, that chariot, apart from its parts, it doesn't have any existence at all. Apart from all its parts, the table also does not have any existence. Only combination gives a sense of existence, that's all. It's only a illusory existence. It's not real existence. So, what exactly this individual sense of individuality is very difficult to define. So, Swami Vivekananda, in spite of all that he says, there is a great struggle to retain our individuality. According to Swami Vivekananda, there is two tendencies are there. One tendency is struggling hard to keep up this individuality. This is one great struggle. Everybody wants to retain this individuality, his own self-identity. This great struggle is there. He says, Swami Vivekananda says, there is that unconscious struggle of the human with the spiritual, of the lower with the higher mind. And this struggle attempts to preserve one's separate life, what we call our individuality. So there is a struggle is there to keep up this individuality. There is a struggle with the spiritual. Spirituality, spiritual evolution means losing this individuality. Losing this individuality. But there is a struggle again. Why I am not able to progress spiritually? Because there is a great struggle is there to retain this individuality. That is why I am not able to progress spiritually. Spirituality means losing our individuality ultimately. So that is why there is Swami Vivekananda says, struggle of the human with the spiritual. Human tendency wants to retain one's individuality, but spirituality says lose it, give it up, it says. Spiritual. Of the lower with the higher mind. Higher mind is spiritual orientation. That always says lose your individuality, give up your individuality. But lower mind says drags me retain his individuality. So this great struggle is there. Attempt to this individuality, retain this individuality. This tendency of human beings is called in Yoga Sutra Abhinivesha. You must have heard this very word, very familiar, those who are acquainted with our yoga and Vedanta. Abhinivesha. Abhinivesha means really the struggle to retain one's individuality. I want to be. I don't want to be ceased to be. I don't want to cease to be. So this kind of tendency is there in everyone. There is a nice funny story is there. One devotee was there and he used to go to one particular temple and sit for meditation. And he would go on meditating for a long time, long hours. And the priest of the temple, after all his work is over, puja is over, everything is over, he wants to close the temple and go home. But this man is meditating. What to do? He didn't want to disturb him, his meditation also. At the same time, he cannot wait for indefinite time. Then he hit upon a plan one day. He hid himself behind the deity and started talking as the God is talking. Oh, my dear devotee, I am very pleased with your devotion. Please come and merge yourself within me. He shouted like that. Then immediately this man got up and ran away from there and never to return again at all. So that means he did not want to lose his individuality. He wanted to retain. Nobody wants to lose one's own individuality. That kind of tendency, strong tendency is there. That is called Abhinivesha. Normally, Abhinivesha is interpreted as clinging to life, afraid of death and all that. It is not just afraid of death. I will give you an example. This one soldier is there. Soldier in the battlefield, he fights valiantly with all vigor and strength and all that. He is ready to give up his life. Ready to give up his life. He fights like that. There, his identity is not in the body. Some ideology, love for the country, some ideology is there. His identity is that ideology, that country. He is identifying himself with that country at that particular moment while fighting in the battlefield. The same soldier, afterwards, if he falls ill and admitted to the hospital, you will see completely different attitude. He wants to survive. He wants to retain his body. There his identity is with the body. He don't feel like losing his body. He is not afraid of, he is afraid of losing his identity. Because death itself is not indicates the losing one's individuality. His sense of individuality is something different from it. It is beyond the body. For example, I don't want to lose my own position because my sense of individuality lies in that. So, in so many ways, my identity changes situation to situation. So, that is why this Abhinivesha means the fear of losing one's own individuality. It may be related to the nation, it may be related to some ideology, it may be related to the personality structure itself. It depends upon the situation in which I am placed. So that is why Abhinivesha is not just clinging to the life, it is something beyond that. Why we are afraid of death? Because after death, I do not know what will happen to me. Whether I really remain or not, I don't know. Really, I do not know. So that is why I am afraid of death. Because I am losing myself. I don't want to lose myself. So that is because my real nature is eternity. I am the self. I am the self. I am the Atman. Atman is always eternal. The sense of eternality this existence, eternal existence, is manifesting itself in the form of this abhinimesha. So that is why nobody wants to die, nobody wants to lose himself, nobody wants to be cease to exist, wants to cease to exist. Once Swami Vivekananda in the West, you know this incident, was talking about this Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta. And after the final realization, one merges himself, becomes one with the ultimate reality, that is Parabrahma. Just like, the water drop falling into the ocean and becoming one with the ocean. He was explaining like that. Among the audience, one lady came, got up and told, Swami, what will happen to our individuality? What will happen to our individuality? And Swamiji blurted out, what is your individuality? He said, what is your individuality? You call individuality. What is that? Where is your individuality? He says. Is it even in our body? Body is a constant change. Every moment it is changing. Your individuality does not consist in the body at all. Is it in your mind? Mind also is a constant flux, constant flux. There is nothing constant here. Is it in your ego? Ego also changes. Today I am one person, tomorrow I am completely different. When I am doing the business, I am a different person. When I go to the temple, I am a great devotee. When I sit in the shop and doing the business, I forget God at all. I am not a devotee at all there. When I go home, I am a different person. I am a father or mother or something like that. So, this ego also changes. Ego also is not constant. It's also constantly changing. Is that individuality lies in the memory? Memory completely lost, can be lost completely. My individuality is lost then. So where is my individuality then? So that's why Swami Vivekananda says, you don't have really any individuality yet. He says, there is one story is there related to Buddha. Buddha, you must have heard. One person, somehow he got very angry with Buddha, something like that. He was so much overpowered by anger, he could not control himself, started abusing Buddha like anything. Constantly went on abusing him. Buddha was standing there smiling without any reaction. He went on scolding and abusing like anything. After some time, he got tired and went home. When this anger subsided, then he started thinking, what a heinous crime I have committed. Abusing Buddha, such a great personality, what a wrong thing I did. So he started feeling remorse about it. Then afterwards, next day, he came back to Buddha and asked Buddha to pardon him. Please excuse me, without knowing, without understanding things, I went on abusing like this. Please excuse me, please pardon me for the mistake I have committed. So he started beseeching. And Buddha again smiling. And he said, who is there to excuse, pardon, and who is there who scolded me? Who is there now? I am also changed. I am a different person now. And you are also changed. You are a different person. That person is gone. The one who scolded is gone. One who got scolding also is gone. He is not there at all. Whom to pardon? Whom to excuse? Who to excuse? Both are not there. So, that means it is a constant change. It's a flux, constant change. Every moment I am a different person altogether. That's why they say, you are only mistaking the similarity for identity. You are only mistaking the similarity for identity. I am similar. Yesterday also I was like this. Today also I am like this. It's a similarity is there. But there is no identity. Identity is different, he says, because the whole thing is changed. Whole thing is changed. So that is why this body is a constant change, it's a flux, mind also is like that, everything is changing. So where is this individuality? I must be able to pinpoint, oh, this is my individuality, oh, this is my, I am this individual, I am this. So you can't do that, you can't say that. So that means, according to Swami Vivekananda, this is a false individuality. And another tendency is there, he says, trying to kill the individuality, that tendency also is there. He says, further, he says, individuality means what cannot be divided. How can you call this individuality? What cannot be divided? It cannot be divided because it's constant, uniform things, homogeneous thing. There is no division at all. So there is nothing in this system of personality which cannot be divided, which is constant. So that means here there is no really then any sense of individuality. And at the same time, Swami Vivekananda says, trying to kill the individuality, that tendency also is there. He gives the example of a mother. Mother sacrifices herself, everything for the sake of the child. And he gives one example. One mother is there and she is going on the street, and one tiger comes and tries to attack. She struggles herself to protect herself and run away from the place. And the next day she comes with her own child. Child is there. And same tiger comes to attack. Then what will be her position, he asks. She is ready to sacrifice herself, die herself for his protection of the child. So there she is ready to sacrifice herself. So that is why there is a struggle to sacrifice one's own individuality also. Swami Vivekananda further says, Christ never struggled to protect his individuality, he says. Jesus Christ never struggled to protect his individuality. He has completely sacrificed himself for the sake of the whole humanity. So like that, there is always a struggle to kill the individual. That is, killing one's own individuality is called spiritual progress. That is spirituality. Therefore, Swami Vivekananda says, therefore, to gain this infinite universal individuality, that is spiritual realization, spiritual unity, infinite universal individuality, this miserable little prison individuality must go. Prison individuality he calls, little prison individuality, that is confining oneself with this body, psychophysical apparatus, body-mind complex. I am confined within that, I am bound within that, must go. Then alone can death, very beautifully Swami Vivekananda puts here, then alone can the death cease when I am with life. Then alone can misery cease when I am one with happiness itself. Then alone can all error cease when I am one with knowledge itself. And this is the necessary scientific conclusion. Here is, he indicates here the Sat, Chit, Ananda aspect of the ultimate reality. Then alone can death cease when I am one with the life. That refers to Sat aspect of the reality. Then alone can misery cease when I am one with the happiness itself. That refers to Ananda aspect of the reality. Then alone can all error cease when I am one with the knowledge itself. That is Chit aspect of reality. Sat, Chit, Ananda. So he is very beautifully he puts it. So that means when the knowledge is there is no ignorance at all. The error cannot be there. Because knowledge itself is the light. In that light, ignorance cannot remain at all. It will simply melt away. Just like, in sun there is no darkness at all. There cannot be any darkness in sun. If you go and ask the sun, what is darkness? I say, I don't know at all. I don't know darkness. I have not experienced it at all. I have not seen darkness, he says. So similarly, when I become one with the knowledge itself, I don't know what is ignorance. No ignorance at all then. So similarly, so everything ceases and all duality ceases when one becomes the one with the ultimate reality. Sat, Chit, Ananda. All struggles for the preservation of this elusive individuality are really vices. All struggles to lose this individuality are virtues. He defines morality also like this, The struggle to keep one's own individuality is, constant struggle to keep one's own individuality is the vices, that is all evils. All evil due to this, the intense desire to retain one's own individuality. So when a person is try to lose his own individuality, then morality comes. Then still ultimately what happens? The spirituality comes. When the spiritual identity takes place, morality becomes natural to us. Morality means, actually Swami Vivekananda says, morality is nothing but unselfishness. Not me, but thou. This is morality according to Swami Vivekananda. So that means as long as I keep on to everything myself, when I hold on to my own individuality, my own what is called so-called individuality, then what happens, I want to have everything to myself, grab everything to myself. So because of that, I will not be able to have that strong moral integrity. That moral integrity must come only when I am able to lose myself in the whole humanity, in the whole universal consciousness. So then all the selfishness, naturally selfishness will not be there at all. Individuality means what cannot be divided. How can you call this individuality? 1 hour you are thinking one way, and the next hour another way, and 2 hours after another way. Individuality, that which changes not. Individuality is that which changes not, is beyond all things, changeless. It would be a tremendously dangerous for this state to remain in eternity, because then the thief would always remain a thief, blackguard a blackguard. That means if this individuality consists, in what I am now, see, if I am a thief now my individuality consists in being a thief. So to retain this individuality means being thief always. If I am a very bad person, blackguard, then also the individuality consists centering around that. Then retain that individuality means remain always a bad person, blackguard. So that is a, Swami Vivekananda says, this individuality must go. The real individuality is that which never changes and will never change, and that is God within us. That is God within us, he says. We are inseparable part of the whole, physically, mentally, and spiritually. According to Swami Vivekananda, physically we are inseparable part of the whole physical world. He says, myself and yourself, your body, my body, all the different bodies, they are all the small ripples in the infinite ocean of matter. There is no separation at all. I really, physically speaking, when you analyze very scientifically and very minutely, my body cannot be separated from all the surroundings matter. I am really completely one with this physical body, completely one with the whole matter around me. So I don't have physically also, really I don't have any completely separate individuality physically also. That's also a illusion that I have got a physical separate individuality is also an illusion according to Swami Vivekananda. Then what about the mind? I have got my own mind, my own way of thinking, my own way of feeling, everything is my own. But he says, the mind also is an inseparable part of the cosmic mind. Everything is one with the cosmic mind. My mind is also an inseparable part of it. It's all whatever that I get, ideas that I get also is from the cosmic mind. Everything is a part of the cosmic mind. So that is why I psychologically also, mentally also, I don't have any separate individuality as such. And spiritually, Bhagavad Gita says, Sri Krishna says, Mamevansho jivabhute jivaloke jivabhuta sanatanaha. My own part is existing in all the beings as a jiva, as jivatma. So that means I am one with the Ishvara, cosmic consciousness. Physically, I am one with the material world. Mentally, I am one with the cosmic mind. Spiritually, I am one with the universal consciousness, Ishvara. So that's the famous statement, Mahavakya, the Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi is applicable in all the three levels, physical, mental, as well as the spiritual. In all the three levels, I don't have any real individuality. Individuality is only a misnomer, according to Swami Vivekananda. And he further says, this I quoted earlier also, the individual's life is in the life of the whole. Individual's happiness is in the happiness of the whole. Apart from the individual, apart from the whole, individual cannot be conceived. And this is the bedrock on which whole universe is built. So that means the microcosm and macrocosm are built on one and the same plan, as Swami Vivekananda puts it. So this microcosm is this individuality. This is one with the macrocosm, that is universal consciousness. So that is all, the whole thing is, everything is universal, nothing is individual. Physically also, I am not an individual. Spiritually also, mentally also, I am not an individual. But strangely enough, Swami Vivekananda says, we have to assert our own individuality. At the same time, Swami says, my own individuality is there, my own uniqueness is there, personality uniqueness is there. This uniqueness I must always hold on to. I should not try to be somebody else. I should not try to be somebody else. I must retain my own sense of individuality, my own self-identity, my own uniqueness, personality uniqueness. Normally, we have got the tendency of imitating others, imitating others' way of life, others' way of lifestyle, others' way of thinking, others' way of talking, others' way of dressing, and all such things. There is a tendency, great tendency is there, especially among the youth. So this is actually the reason for this kind of tendency is because one do not have really a strong sense of individuality. Strong sense of individuality also must be there at the same time. We don't have the self-respect, self-identity, strong self-identity. I don't want, that is why, because I always want to merge myself in the social milieu. So that is why there is a tendency is there, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೇವಲ್ಲ, ಗುಂಪಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಗೋವಿಂದನಾಗಿರೋದು ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು, ಆ ಥರ ದಟ್ ಟೆಂಡೆನ್ಸಿ ಇಸ್ ದೇರ್. That kind of tendency, because of I don't have a real individuality, strong personality structure is not there. So that is why Swami Vivekananda says, we must retain that sense of individuality. Otherwise we will not grow, One should retain one's individuality. One should not imitate, not become others. Swamiji says, the imitation is a sign of great degradation, he says. It's a sign of degradation, because one imitates because one do not have any real stuff within himself. If that real stuff is there within, then he will not care for others. He won't imitate others at all. He doesn't have to develop his own personality imitating somebody else. He has got his own personality. He wants to build up his own personality imitating somebody else. That's not correct. So one must have his own personality, his own unique personality. One should not try to become somebody else. You have to learn so many things. Swami Vivekananda says, you have to learn so many things from others, but you should not become others. You have to absorb everything, learn so many things, retain our own individuality. You should not try to become somebody else. You have to observe everything, retaining our own individuality, absorbing everything according to my own growth, law of growth. He gives an example of the seed. Seed takes the water, air, manure, everything it takes, absorbs it. But it neither becomes the water, nor becomes the manure, nor becomes the air, nor becomes the light. It absorbs everything, and following its own law of growth, it germinates and becomes seedling and becomes a huge tree later, expressing its own inner stuff within itself. So like that, we must have that inner stuff within ourselves. We have to retain this individuality. We should not try to become others. So Swamiji says, if one tries to refuse to learn from others, it is a death, he says. Even nationally also it is like that. So why India become degraded? Swami Vivekananda says, because we confine ourselves to within our own border. We did not go out, mix with people, how the things are going on outside. We did not exchange ideas with others. Because of that, the India degraded. Because of that. So you must go out and see others, observe others, and learn many, many things from others. And we have to follow that, absorb that, and retaining our own individuality, and should not try to become somebody else. So normally the tendency is there, I want to become somebody else. Once in the psychology they say, a psychotic says, I am an Abraham Lincoln. I am an Abraham Lincoln, he says. The neurotic says, I want to become Abraham Lincoln, he says. And a real authentic man says, I am what I am, that's all. I want to grow according to my own law of growth. I don't want to become somebody else. There is always a tendency is there, for example, to imitate others. For example, there is a Sri Ramakrishna used to Taki Mati Taka, he used to do like this, throw everything to the Ganges, both the coin as well as clay. One should not do like that. Oh, Sri Ramakrishna did like that, I also do like this. So it looks very ridiculous if one does like that. One must have the spirit of sacrifice, spirit of Tyaga must be there, That doesn't mean you have to follow that one as Swami Sri Ramakrishna himself did it. So you should not imitate like that. One must have that idea, spirit must be there, but at the same time, I must retain in my own way I have to grow. I have to emulate others, not imitate others. Emulating and imitation is completely different. So that is why Swami Vivekananda is very particular about this retaining one's own. That's why he says, you are the maker of your own destiny, he said. You are the maker of your own destiny. Each one of us has a mission to perform in life. Everybody has got his own mission to perform in own life. One has to fulfill that one. You are the maker of your own destiny. And as I told you now, Abraham Lincoln, etc. There is a fine, funny incident is there. Once a prime minister of a country visited a lunatic asylum to inspect how the things are going on, whether the patients are treated nicely or not, properly or not. So he was inspecting and moving around, and he called one of the inmates there, getting the treatment. He said, asked, "How are you?" "Yes, fine." "You are fine?" "Oh, yes, I am keeping well." And that fellow also asked him, "Who are you?" "I am the Prime Minister," he said. "Oh, okay. After some time you will be all right." When I came, I was also thinking I am the Prime Minister. So like that, that happens. So because of this, this kind of tendencies that I want to become somebody else. So that tendency is really wrong. It doesn't really indicates the healthy development of personality, according to Swami Vivekananda. There is a quotation from a Lin Yutang, one very Chinese author. He has written a very beautiful book. The courage to be one's own natural self is quite rare thing. Consciously or unconsciously, we are all actors in this life, playing to the audience in a part and style approved by them. We really do not realize this one naturally. We think that we are completely independent. We are acting according to our own way, my own thinking. But actually, as society dictates, we behave. Society dictates, you have to talk like this, you have to walk like this, you have to dress like this. Society dictates. We do like that accordingly. We don't have that sense of individuality, independence. I want to act independently. I want to behave independently. That is very rare thing. Retaining one's own personality is something very rare. Somehow or the other, we try to play to the tunes of others. So that is why this courage to be one's own self, one's own natural self, is something very rare. According to this Chinese author, Swami Vivekananda also says like this. Somehow or the other, Swamiji says in one place, the most of our energy, more than 50% of our energy is spent in showing to the people what we are not, what we are really not. Because society demands it. Society demands it. So that is why we change, we act according to the demands of the society. Swami Vivekananda was like that. He was very independent. He was very independent. For example, when he was in the West, sometimes deliberately he would break the etiquettes of the Western etiquettes of eating, etc. Deliberately he would do that. Once when he was in Thousand Island Parks, while eating with other devotees and all that, foreign devotees, while eating on the table, he was eating like this with hand. Eating the hand with hand is very, very, very bad according to them. And not only that, he was licking like this, licking like this. It is so horrible for them to see. What is this Swami is doing? They were wondering. So like that, he was deliberately he would break the etiquettes. So we are so much bound by those things. Then what happens, after some time, it becomes so natural with us, our whole personality will change accordingly. So that is why you must sometimes or the other, you must break this kind of etiquettes and customs and traditions that is always forced upon us by the society. Retaining one's own uniqueness, one has to become one with the whole. Unity in diversity. Example, Garland. For example, one has to retain one's own individuality. At the same time, I must become one with the whole. One with the whole. Not losing one's own individuality. retaining one's own individuality. For example, it's something like, garland is there, garland of different flowers of different colors. We make a garland out of it. All the flowers are joined together. So each flower retains its own individuality, its own color, its own smell, and becomes a part of the whole garland. It becomes part of the whole garland. It becomes a beautiful garland. For example, music is there. Music concert is there. There is the tabla is there, mridanga is there, pitil is there, harmonium is there, the person who is singing also is there. Each voice is different, each sound is different. The pitil is different, the violin is different, produces a different sound, tabla different, produces a different sound. Everything completely different, sound is different. But at the same time there is a unity is there. Same tune, same laya is there, same tune is there, same shruti is there, same pitch is there, everything is same there. So there they all unite together, retaining their own individual sound. They don't lose their own sound. Pitil sounds as a this violin, what is it called? Violin sounds as violin only. The harmonium sounds as harmonium only. Tabla sounds as tabla only. It won't change its sound. But at the same time, it becomes one with the whole music concept. Produces a beautiful music. So similarly, I have to become one with the whole, retaining my own individuality. There is a thread is there in the garland. There is a common thread is there. That thread unites the whole flowers. So similarly, in the music also there is a common thread is there. Tune is there. Same tune is there. Shruti is there. That unites all the sounds. Similarly, there must be unity in diversity, as Swami Vivekananda. That is the plan of nature. That is the plan of creation, as Swami Vivekananda puts it. So this kind of sense of individuality must be there. With that sense of individuality, retaining one's own individuality, one has to become one with the whole, one with the whole society, whole world, whole humanity. Finally, this sense of individuality is to be dissolved in the infinite as drop of water falling into ocean, or rivers joining the sea. So finally, as long as we are here, we have to be retaining one's own individuality. We have to one with others, one with the whole society, one with this whole humanity. At the same time, we have to grow spiritually also. As we grow spiritually, we go on losing our individuality. Ultimately, we lose our individuality in the infinite ocean of God. As like drop, as Swami Vivekananda puts, dew drop or water drop falling into the ocean, or rivers joining into the ocean, the sea. Yatha nadyah sendamana samudre astam gacchanti namarupe vihaya. All the rivers flow towards the ocean, join with the ocean, one with the ocean, losing its own namarupa, its own identity. As long as it's away from the ocean, every river has got its own identity. Its own name is there, identity is there, its quality is there, everything is there. When it joins with the sea, it loses everything. No nama, no rupa, no self-identity. It becomes one with the whole ocean. Similarly, we have to join ourselves with the whole ocean of consciousness, that Ishvara, losing our own sense of individuality. That is how this spiritual growth takes place. Yata nadyah sandhyamana samudre astam gacchanti namarupe vihaya tatha vidwan namarupat vimuktaha. Tatha vidwan means the wise man, realized man. Vidwan namarupa vimuktaha, he being free from the nama as well as rupa, vimuktaha. Paratparam purusham upaiti divyam, he attains that ultimate reality, that purusha, that ultimate reality, he attains that, becomes one with that reality. This is our spiritual journey. That means our individuality, according to Swami Vivekananda, we must retain our individuality, at the same time become one with the whole society, whole humanity. Ultimately, when you grow spiritually, ultimately we become one with the whole universal consciousness. So that means our whole spiritual progress means losing our individuality, losing our sense of ego, destruction of the ego, dissolution of the ego, all the melting away of our ego, individuality. So this is our spiritual growth. So according to Swami Vivekananda, we have to ultimately attain to this state of being one with the whole universal consciousness. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.